haven't voted yet. Remember, obviously, November 5th, next Tuesday is election day. Go early. Make sure that you go early in case there's any long lines or any shenanigans. That way you get a chance to vote. If you can vote early in person wherever you live, obviously that's great too, but it's important that you vote. She had her final weird plea to the American people last night, and the event turned into a debacle. There was a large crowd, admittedly, but it was in D.C., and the crowd was mostly donors and bureaucrats and corrupt losers, as well as a giant anti-Kamala rally that had to be fenced out, so much so that her own supporters had to scale fences to escape her rally, if that's what you could even call it. This was all going on, by the way, at the same time as Joe Biden was, for whatever reason, live streaming calling Americans garbage. Half of all Americans, that is. And let's get right into the story. I want to share a couple clips and then the reaction, of course. By the way, this is Kamala's own little insurrection here, I would believe.
Look, we know who Donald Trump is. He is the person.
I love that all you hear is sirens.
This very spot nearly 4 years ago and sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol.
Armed? First of all, that's verifiably untrue. What do you mean armed? He also didn't send anybody anywhere. In fact, he told people to go home. Stand down and stand by, I believe he said.
To overturn the will of the people in a free and fair election.
Never happened. Never happened. By the way, this is her supporting riots.
Clear that I know that there are protests still happening in major cities across the United States.
She's happy about it.
The reporting on it that I had
that's right.
for the first few weeks.
That's right. But they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And they're not. This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop.
Oh, okay. So interesting. Kamala is pro-riot, apparently. Then we get, this is desperation is a stinky cologne. And look, anything could happen. Anything could happen. I don't allow myself to feel optimistic that we're going to finally get 4 years of prosperity and peace in this country, because anything could happen. Vote early, vote in person. I don't care, but vote. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden think you're garbage. They've been hiding their true extreme views from the American people. They're all blurting out now as Tim Walz is gesticulating all over the planet. Here we have Kamala turn down the temperature. Kamala Joy Harris directly comparing Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. What? By the way, just 10 minutes earlier, Harris called on Americans to stop pointing fingers and come together. This is the party of anger, of rage. I don't know how else to lay this out to you. This is not the party of joy. Look at the clips from Trump's MSG rally where the bars of New York were filled up with people that couldn't get in, that were singing and, proud to be an American and all this kind of stuff.
And those who came before us, the patriots at Normandy and Selma, Seneca Falls and Stonewall, on farmlands and factory floors. They did not struggle, sacrifice, and lay down their lives only to see us cede our fundamental freedoms.
What?
They didn't do that. Only to see us submit to the will of another petty tyrant.
Oh, it's a petty tyrant.
These United States of America, we are not a vessel for the schemes of wannabe dictators.
What?
The United States of...
The guy was president for 4 years. Of course, everyone memeing on her, breaking Kamala Harris to deliver her closing speech at the D.C. National Mall, directly where the KKK rallied in 1924. Oh, no. Here you see, I'm in Kamala Harris's Ellipse rally crowd in D.C., and her whole crowd is angry pro-Hamas voters chanting, intifada revolution. A Kamala victory means all these, quote, lovely people standing behind me will be coming to protest in your town.
Yo, I'm outside Kamala's Ellipse rally here in DC, and literally the whole crowd going back in the Ellipse are just like Free Palestine Jew haters. Take a look. It's her whole crowd.
Notice how they're all white women and malnourished men. I don't see any Palestinians in this crowd, or Arabs, or whatever the case is. It's all just bored white women.
Not her whole crowd.
Look at them all.
See, some Democrats want to deny it. It's the whole crowd. See, some Democrats want to deny it.
It's a whole massive crowd of protests. I mean, again, I don't care. Poly market is just directional. It means nothing. Your vote matters. I don't care how black-pilled you are. Give me one last election, all right? Go vote. And hopefully you'll vote for Donald Trump. But I still think you should vote regardless of who you want to vote for, because, you know, not every country gets to do that. But, I mean, poly market, I've said before, and I'll say again, I think this is probably the biggest gap that you're going to see. Donald Trump now leads by 34 points in the betting markets. I think Vegas gives him a 65% chance, so it's right around where this is. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean, we know shenanigans, all this kind of stuff. Poll watchers are out there, thankfully. But I mean, what is going on? Now you see, the first time Kamala is able to pull a crowd without entertainers is in the heart of the DC swamp. Thousands of federal employees, bureaucrats, and lobbyists all showing up to support the woman who will uphold the corrupt system they benefit from. That from Johnny Mega. And this account is 100% right. These are all people that stand to gain profit, to profit from a more DC corruption. By the way, this is attendees of the Kamala Harris DC rally forced to climb over fences to escape the event. Fencing was erected to prevent the pro-Gaza protesters from shutting down the rally. Fences. There's a lot of people climbing. Look at all these people climbing the fence. Look at this. And they're getting told to stop, of course. Like, these are a lot of people climbing the fence to escape that rally. Now, of course, it would be funny to me if they were just getting out of there because of the unending cringe. Kamala Harris's final plea to voters is drowned out by police sirens and car alarms as protesters mar DC rally. Perfect personification. Or, not a personification, but a perfect example of what a Kamala Harris presidency will look like. The embarrassing moment for the vice president was gleefully clipped out and made viral by the official War Room account for President Trump's campaign. Just a few seconds in, and Kamala's rally is already getting drawn up by sirens. The account posted on X. Harris walked out on stage to applause and cheers from the crowd of 75,000 swamp losers. A section of the National Mall that features the White House as its backdrop. So listen, 1 week from today. I really should have worked on a Kamala laugh impersonation. But, I mean, again, Tuesday's rally in front of the White House wasn't too focused on foreign policy. Instead, Harris hammered Holmes, talking about Trump being a petty tyrant, obsessed with revenge and grievance. So am I. I'm not a petty tyrant, but I am obsessed with revenge. I want Trump to get revenge, although I don't think he will. He didn't do much of that in his first term. The wild thing about all this is just how, obvious, this woman has no platform. None. She has no platform. All she has is don't vote for Trump. Now, I don't know if that's enough to defeat him in this election. I don't like to celebrate until the final, until Kamala Harris concedes. I will not celebrate. But I mean, this idea that Kamala Harris is a change candidate, that Kamala Harris is anything but just 4 more years of brain dead Joe Biden, I don't know what to tell you. Now, Atlas Intel, which was the most accurate poll in 2020 election, its final poll gave Trump a 2-point lead. TIP, Reuters both gave Kamala a 1-point lead. These are national, right? Morning Consult gave Harris a 3-point lead. This day in history, Clinton held a 4.3 point lead, a 4.3 point 4.3 point lead over Trump and lost in 2016. Joe Biden held a 7.9 point lead over Trump and won, allegedly. He won. Okay. Joe Biden is president. That's what I'm going to say. But who knows? You know, Trump leading, even if it's even, that's probably not good for Kamala. If you look at, you know, the battleground states, I'm not sure exactly where we're at there. Like if we look at their RCP Electoral College, this says Trump Vance at 219 with 215. If we look at their no toss-up, they have Trump leading 297, which would make him the president. This map, the RCP map with no toss-ups, has Trump winning Wisconsin, but not Michigan, but still winning the election. Has Trump winning Arizona, Nevada. Who else? Pennsylvania. Obviously, that would be big. He can lose Pennsylvania, but then he has to pick up like Michigan or something like that, right? This is with no toss-ups. Again, who knows? We haven't seen a lot of good polling in the swing states. You know, very, very recent, we've seen some. 4 years ago, you've got, right now, Trump leads by 0.6 in Pennsylvania. 2016, Trump led by 0.7, so that's about the same. Biden led by 1.2 in 2020. Wisconsin, Trump leads by 0.6. Michigan, Harris by 0.5 point. Arizona, Trump bigly. Nevada, Trump by a C-hair. Georgia, Trump bigly. I mean, Virginia, Harris by 5.8. I mean, is Virginia really a swing state? I don't know. You know, Minnesota, rip Minnesota. It would be nice to see Trump pick up Michigan or Minnesota. If he just wins one of these three, I'd be happy. Minnesota, Michigan, or Wisconsin. Minnesota seems the most unlikely. They obviously have Vermont and New Hampshire going to Kamala Harris too. But what an embarrassing final desperate plea for Kamala Harris. A perfect little microcosm of her entire campaign. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.